Jacob and Paul. How are you both going?
Yeah, really good. Just a bit tired. Still a little bit sore, but no, recovering well.
Oh, mate. What an epic race. I mean, Jacob, this was the first time you ran at MVP. Like, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. Brett at Trails Plus does a really good job at all these events. I'm a bit of a regular at the U Yangs and the Bogon to Hotham, so I was looking forward to it because of that, and I was also looking forward to the bit of the hillier course. But yeah, it lived up to all my expectations, that's for sure.
Mm. And Paul, you love MVP. It was your third time there, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is their third time there, so made me backyard debut there a couple of years ago, and yeah, same as you, Jake. I'm tired, a bit sore, but it was good fun. I think I'll try and do MVP every year. I reckon it's the hills and the heat are a good way to start the year.
Yeah, I reckon it's definitely the race. I reckon it levels all its runners up. I reckon we'll see so many runners come out and smash their PBs this year and put in some really good runs. But Jacob, you haven't been on the podcast before, so how long have you been running for, and how did you get into it?
Probably been running for 3.5 years, seriously, and I started off just training up to a marathon. Did that and then kind of didn't do much, and then got back into it. But and as the time and years have gone on, I've just chased that bigger distance or that bigger race, and it's kind of where I'm at now, I guess.
Hmm. I remember, well, I don't actually remember running with you at GV, so I'm not sure if we chatted or not, but you did that in 24 and did 30 yards. So how did that race come about?
Yeah, I had a few mates that were going to do it from Wagga, so I signed up to do it with them, and they ended up not being able to do it for various reasons. So I went down there and done that. I was only really a trail runner before then, so I went down and gave GB a crack, and yeah, done the 30 yards, and I was silly. I went in with a distance goal, and as soon as I hit that distance goal, I kind of just turned off and chucked the towel in, I guess.
Did you like the day after and stuff, were you thinking, oh, maybe I should have kept going?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was kicking myself. Like, I was still feeling good and moving well, so it was disappointing after it, and it's something that I wouldn't make that mistake again.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people were talking about how fresh you looked at when you pulled out of that race at 30 yards. So you obviously, I was going to say, where did you feel as good as everyone was saying you looked?
Yeah, I did. I did. I still was feeling sore and tired, like everyone was, but I had no major problems that should have ended my race.
Yeah. And do you remember how you felt about the format afterwards? Like, were you loving it or?
I did. I really enjoyed it. And last year I was going to do a lot more backyard ultras, and I had a miler, the Alpine Challenge, in April last year. I was just going to do that as my only trail run, and then focus on the backyarders. But the miler in Falls Creek didn't go as planned. I had equipment failures, and that led to a DNF. So that kind of changed my focus. I was angry with that, so I wanted to make that right, and I spent the rest of the year doing trail runs.
Was it last year that you did the run in Thailand?
Yeah, in Taiwan, yeah. I had it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, really, because I had a really good year in the trail running scene last year. Won the U Yangs for the second miler for the second year in a row, which got me the trip to Taiwan. So that was awesome as well.
Mm, yeah. Um, so, and then you did Aussie Alpine. That was your return to backyard. So
Yeah.
you went into that like, what was it? Your mindset? How was your mindset different at Aussie Alpine compared to GV?
The mindset was to go in and either not being able to complete a loop or to win it. That was my mindset going in there. I was going to give it all. If I wasn't going to give it all, then that means I'll be the last one standing, per
Mm,
se. I went in also pretty confident that it wouldn't go that long, given the elevation, the altitude, and the time of the year as well.
mm. How did that experience at Aussie Alpine, like, did it influence your decision to run at MVP?
Absolutely, yeah. MVP wasn't really on the cards until after the Aussie Alpine. It definitely sparked a lot more of an interest for the backyarders for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet you're glad you ran at MVP now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Um, Paul, you had another good year last year in 25. Like you broke 30 twice and ran PBs at Dead Cow Gully and then GV.
Yeah, it was a good second year into the backyard scene after testing the water in 24. I must say though, the last experience I had at GV, it was a great event, really well ran, and great to see a lot of people hit what they did out there. For me personally, though, it was an event that from early on just didn't go to plan for me. I'd put dramas, well, probably within about 6 hours into the event, and I thought I just had tied my shoelaces up too tight. But I took my shoes off and it was still hurt, and then just constantly got worse to the point where I had the old Ned Brockman thing tied to my foot to get past me PB. But that took me I reckon 2 to 3 weeks just to be able to get back to some decent sort of running after it. So I was pretty despondent with backyarders, and I remember telling my mate that come up to crew for me, told me, I don't think my body's made for backyarders. I think I need to get back to running point to point and on the trails and bits and pieces, which is originally where I started. And then we did a couple of runs over summer, and then I made the choice a couple of weeks ago to go, no, I had a lot of fun at the first two MVPs. Let's have one more crack at a backyarder
Yeah.
and see what it's about. And first 2 yards, foot was really sore, but I think it was just that muscle memory going, are you doing this shit again? But after that, I was just so stoked with how the body got through, like, and I approached the race really well. So I'm bloody stoked that I had a crack and did what I did at it. It was good fun.
Yeah, so did I hear you correctly? Like you only decided to run at it like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we were on travel in New Zealand with the family with sport, and I was doing the hardcore Harry's challenge while I was away and adding a few runs in. So, and then I got back and I met a guy over there, John, who was on the tour the kids were on, and he was going, I'm going to do hardcore Harry's till Australia Day, and I go, maybe I should do the same. So I did it through to Australia Day, and then and at that day I made the choice to go, okay, let's pull up that and let's now taper into MVP and give it a crack. And I must say that that training I think was spot on to lead into MVP. Like the hitting a PB and feeling pretty good for the majority of the race was pretty a joy. I had a great time. Met lots of people out there, good chats, good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. Like, so as far as like backyards go, you've done a few, Paul. Like, do you reckon MVP's like the hardest or most demanding that there is?
It is depending on how you approach it, though, Pato. Like I love the walk run part's taken care. My second backyard was Hurdy's, which was a good fun for a different reason, but that's nearly dead flat. So you're trying to pick landmarks to walk, run, or I know some people do like 6'3", 6'4", whatever. Whereas MVP, I sort of just had in my mind because I've done it a couple of times before. I've gone, I'll run this bit out to the tree. We all know the tree before we start to go up the hill on the first loop. We run a bit of that, do a bit of backwards walking. I did a fair bit of that on course, which I think worked well for me as well. And then it just picks where you run, picks where you walk. I'm not bad at going up the hills, so for the majority of it, I move pretty well up the hills. So it's a course you can do, not as quick as Jacob does, but for me, it's a course I know I can do comfortably in sort of that 48 to 50 minutes when
Mm.
I'm feeling good and pace it up and you still get enough time to do. So for me, I like the course
Yeah.
and I don't mind the heat. I enjoy the heat. Maybe not Sunday morning, it was a bit tough by then, but I enjoyed the Saturday heat. It was fun.
The backwards walking, like, do you do that downhill or uphill or flat or it doesn't matter?
Up the hill normally. And yeah, so I did a bit of that in training over the last 6 months where I'd do about 100 steps on most of my runs 2 or 3 times up to some slight inclines. And just, I don't know if it changes your mindset or anything like that, but you're using a different set of muscles. And I remember being out one day and this lady's out for a walk. She goes, I'm going to try what you're doing. So we both walked up this hill together and she goes, do you do that often? I said, yeah, probably 4 or 5 times a week consistently.
Yeah, that's unreal. And like, did someone tell you you should do that, or was it just your own idea?
Just decided that try something different. That's what it's about. And yeah, kept doing it. And it's worked all right for me.
Yeah, sure has. Jacob, like this was your first time running MVP, but leading into the race, like, could you get a sense that like it's a special race?
Yeah, and I think just by looking back on the past winners and assists, you can see that it attracts some quality runners, and and Brett does a great job with all these races. So I knew it was going to be an epic race. Yeah, definitely.
Mm. I mean, the course itself is famous for, well, it's MVP is famous because of its hills and its heat, that combination. So, was the course and the general race vibe how you imagined it?
Yeah, and like what Paul said, I really enjoyed how the course told you when to walk and run as well. And I was the same as him. I have my areas where I'd walk, and I have my areas when I'd run, and I'd stick to that no matter what. I don't think it was as hot as I was expecting it to be. Also, like Paul said, the Sunday was hot, and I was sick of it by then. But I was preparing for it to be a lot hotter than it was. So I think we were blessed with the weather conditions, that's for sure.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I looked at the weather, what the temperature got up to, expecting it to say like 27 or 28, but it's like 23 or something, maybe even
Yeah,
22. But the sun was out the whole time, so
yeah,
it,
it felt a lot worse than the weather said it did, that's for sure. And we would have been in trouble if the race was a week earlier. It was scorching hot then.
yeah, it was like close to 40, I think.
Yeah.
So was it as simple as walking the hills and running the rest for you, or were there any flat areas that you remember you walked each time?
No, so I would run all flats or downhills, and walk all uphills. With the exception of the last couple of hundred meters, even though it was slightly uphill, I would walk the last couple hundred meters of every yard.
Yeah, yeah. And so we discussed Aussie Alpine. Did that help fine tune any tactics at MVP?
Yeah, I think it did. And it was mostly pacing and knowing how much time I was comfortable with back at my setup to do the things I needed to do and have the adequate rest that I needed.
Mm.
But I didn't have to put in the effort to get that break at MVP that I did at Aussie Alpine, just because the course was a bit tougher at Aussie Alpine.
Right, okay. Um, so one thing I remember from GV last year, Paul, is that you were having some pretty serious issues with keeping food down. I don't know if it was how long in the race, but I was running near you when you're having some issues. So was that a focus for you when you were planning MVP?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I made some slight changes to the food plan and what went in, and it went quite well throughout throughout to probably Sunday morning. So Sunday about 1 o'clock Sunday morning, I was super tired. I remember coming in. It was either yard 30 or 31. I come in. There's still about 8 minutes to go, and I didn't even get in my chair. I just laid on the ground, and I was just tired, and I was just going, I'm just going to rest here. So I just laid there, and I remember saying to my mum, who was crewing for me, I said, "Grab me a couple of Nodos, grab me a Red Bull," and I took a Red Bull can actually out on course with me, and that perked me back up. But I then started to miss a bit of food and bits and pieces. So gut was really good to about 35, 36, and then yeah, it reminded me that those things happen. But yeah, I was stoked with how it went before then. My mate that crewed me for the first day, Stumpy, he's going, you actually ate stuff this time. You actually come in and snacked on things and ate food, which is something I haven't been great at. So I made some deliberate changes in that I I can tell work for me, but also took away some things I could have done better in that sort of Saturday afternoon into Saturday night that wouldn't have led to being so tired on that Sunday morning. Like sleep was just I just wanted to lay down and sleep, I reckon, for about 10 hours.
Yeah. Can you give an example of something that you changed as far as stopped eating or started eating?
I probably focused because it was warm, I focused on just having cold food. So I didn't have like in the past you hear about trying to have same noodles and bits and pieces, but I'm going I just steered away from any of that hot food and just focused on a lot of fruit, cold rice, had some sushi, some cream rice, and just snacked on smaller things. So I snacked on some homemade biscuits my daughter made and tried to snack consistently as I come in each yard and took something out. But I got rid of that hot food
Mm.
that I didn't really like having in some of those other events I do because I run pretty warm as well. And just go, don't try and force yourself to have things just because other people say it's a good idea to have, and then focus on things that I know I like and enjoy to have. So that was the changes I made.
Yeah, awesome. And did you kind of like have like did your plan go step or loop by loop about what you were going to eat, or did you just have a smorgasbord and you chose as you went?
Yeah, I had broke it down into 12-hour blocks, and I had sort of 6 meals I wanted to have in that 12-hour block. But then I also had under that, if I don't feel like meal A, think of something else for me. And I reckon that worked really well for about probably 20 hours. And then it started to get a little bit more random. And then I started to miss some meals, and there was consequences of just feeling just lethargic, like lack of energy and bits and pieces. I start to feel quite tired, and it was becoming becoming more challenging just to get up and go out because you're going, geez, I'm tired. Or as I said to me mate Jace, I said I'm puffed. I'm
Yeah.
bloody puffed.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. Like, have six meals that you want to make sure you have in a 12-hour time period.
Mm,
Really good idea.
yeah, thank you.
Um, so, um, so MVP, like Jacob, has one of the most famous course records around because you mentioned Ben Nichols, the Dubinator, broke 40 for the first time in Victoria. Ben Nichols finished that one with 41. And so many runners are driven by trying to break that course record because, I mean, it's a course record that really means something, and everyone in the backyard ultra world knows about it. So, was breaking the course record giving you a little bit of drive, Jacob?
No, I actually wasn't thinking about the course record. In hindsight, I would have liked to have gone above it, but at the time, it wasn't really a consideration. I was just locked into the race, and it was just me and Paul, and that's what I was worried about is trying to outlast him. Um,
Yeah. What about you, Paul? I've got a feeling you would love to break that course record.
Oh, went into it not thinking about it
Right.
on the train though, so I got to enjoy the train and the bus with the crow, which was the first time I've been able to experience that overnight in a backyarder. I'd be not telling the truth if I said we didn't start to talk about what that record looks like and go, maybe we were even talking about let's ring Benny Nichols up and see what he reckons if we break it. We're just joking around with it, but
Yeah.
the record wasn't really a thing for me until probably about 2 to 3 yards beforehand, where Brett started to dangle the carrot in front of us, going, I'll give you, or you're both going to get a Garmin if you break the record and bits and pieces. So there was that incentive from Brett there. I actually quite like, I think it's quite fitting that we now have two really, really good, like not just backyard ultra runners, like runners across the ultra scene in Benny and Jacob that now jointly hold the most exclusive record, I think, in Victoria. That now we've got two people there, and that'll bring people to want to come and beat it next year. So, as much as I didn't get you a watch, Jacob, it wasn't a thing for me either. But I'm pretty stoked that we've now got two exceptionally good runners on that record, and I think I'll be back next year, and I wouldn't mind trying to have a crack at beating it
Ooh.
next year, or at least equaling it, so I can say I've joined those two boys.
Yeah. So it started at 7 p.m., which I think is pretty similar to Aussie Alpine, but how did you like the 7 p.m. start, Jacob?
I think that's one of the reasons why the record is not that it's low, but lower than a lot of other races, is because you straight away you're going into that first night. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of the evening starts, but I can deal with them. But I suppose it helps the format that Brett has set up as well, and you beat the heat for the first night. But I'd prefer a morning start.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about the heat a little bit. So, I mean, was your third time running at MVP, Paul, and all three times were hot on the Saturday. So, how tough did you find the heat this Saturday compared to the others you've done?
Um, the first two were a lot. I felt a lot hotter than
Yeah,
this one, so I was reflecting on it and chatting during the week. I didn't actually use ice till Sunday.
right.
Till the legend himself, young Ollie, come and said, "Paddy, we're putting a fan on and putting ice on." Like, I had ice there ready to go, but I didn't actually use any ice on the sad day. I I said I ran warm, but I wasn't overexerting myself. I was making sure that in the shade most of the time I was walking the shade. I was doing consistently around 51 sort of minutes, so I wasn't getting too hot out there, and I was just making it fun, just chatting all the newbies out on course, and didn't really notice the heat, Pato, to be honest. I sat there and I had sunscreen on, but I've got a really cool hat that protects me out there, and there's not much fat on me, so it probably served me pretty well in the warmth. So I would have said it was noticeably more pleasant to run in than the other 2 years, but
Yeah.
also I think I prepared and tackled the course more appropriately as well for the weather this time than the first two times around too. Like I didn't go as up the hill as fast. I deliberately walked down the big hill at the top of the hill as well, and then made the most of the shade. So I don't know what Jacob did to deal with the heat, but I've heard people were using ice on Saturday and saw people using it as well, but it didn't twig for me to do that.
Mm. Yeah, Jacob, how did you like? Did you use ice or anything?
No, I didn't actually. It's something that I was thinking about if we were going to go deep into Sunday. It's something I would have started needing to do because I was starting to feel a pinch of the heat on the Sunday. But like Paul said, the Saturday was very manageable. It wasn't overly hot, so I didn't do anything special to manage the heat. Slowed down during the day a touch, but that was about it really.
Yeah.
I tripled my fluid intake during the day to what I had at night, and just went from there.
I mean, you ran every single yard, Jacob, except for the very last one in under 50 minutes. So, was that pacing strategy something you thought about before the race? Like you wanted to do every loop in under 50 minutes?
Uh, I wanted to have that rest, but I didn't have it set in stone. I just done the first yard, not knowing the course, and found what felt comfortable, and just stuck with what felt comfortable. I went out at a pace that wasn't overexert myself, and I could get a decent rest when I come back into my camp.
Hmm. Were there any stages of the race where you were thinking about slowing things down a bit?
Yeah, so on the Saturday, my wife was Sarah was back in Wagga, and she called me up when I was out on one of the yards, and she's like, "You're going too quick. You're going too quick. You need to slow down. It's getting hot." So I listened to her, and I slowed it down a few minutes, which I think helped. I felt comfortable, but in the long run, I think that was the best move, just to knock it back a gear.
Yeah. Um, I did mention it on the Aussie Backyard beat. Well, I pondered whether running faster loops was a part of your strategy as well because you spent a lot of it without any crew.
No, not really. I'm pretty efficient with my setup, so I don't spend too much time when I come back getting myself ready to go back out. The loop speed that I do is purely because it's comfortable for me, and I get a decent rest.
Hmm. So, if you're when you're crewing yourself, like what's the main thing that you do to help yourself? Like, do you eat food that's just ready to go, like that doesn't need heating up and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'll survive on like chocolate, chips, lollies, biscuits, the cream of rice. They've been great, and custard, just stuff that's ready to go soon as I get in there. And then I'll also take a small bag of lollies out on the yard as well, which I'll have about 20 to 25 minutes into the yard. And then, yeah, have my bigger meal or bigger food intake when I complete the yard.
What about gels? Do you use
No,
gels?
I don't like them, and the real food sits well with me, so I've stuck with that. But at Aussie Alpine, that was one thing that I wanted to work on. I actually overate and started feeling really full and bloated. So something at MVP that I wanted to knock it back a little bit and see how that worked, and I think I found a good balance.
Mm. And what about hydration? What did you take out with you on the loops?
Just a 250 ml flask. Um, it was great at MVP because I could fill it up a couple of times when we come back through the start finish line, which was good. So during the night time, I didn't need to fill it up, but during the day, I was filling it up as I come back.
Right. Yeah. So you were using the stuff from the aid table, which was, I think, what was it called? GI?
32 GI, I think. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I started using that towards the end of the race. I was using my own stuff earlier on as well. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I just have two 10 litre water jerrys set up, one with electrolytes and one with water, just with little taps on them. So that's how I come into my camp, fill them up. I usually alternate one water loop and then one electrolyte loop the next one.
Yeah. Perfect. And what was your pacing strategy, Paul?
Me, sort of tried to do most of them around that 50-minute mark was the plan. So either side, even up to like 53, 54. So just trying to go, let's take it really cruisy. Let's preserve energy
Yeah.
and focus on that. I did do a couple of quicker yards because I was feeling felt quite good. So there was a couple I did quite quick on the so I think it was a Saturday morning after about 7 yards or 8 yards around that. I sat there and I think I came in and just under 40 in one of them, and but I wasn't tired enough to actually. So I shut my eyes, but I actually didn't like sitting there for so long
Yeah.
there. So there was a strategy to go slow for a fair portion of it, but then the opportunity to try and sleep wasn't there when I was tired. So there's something that I'll reconsider for the next event I do around maybe deeper into the race, trying to still factor in some quicker ones because I was still feeling okay to try and get that sleep. But my strategy was to go slower than I have in previous events, and I think for the most of it, I stuck to it pretty well. My son told me I had to do the first yard in 59 and a half minutes, and I'm going, geez, I don't want to be that close, but there'd been a theme in our house, Dad, slow down, you don't need to go quick,
Yeah.
and those sorts of things. And I think I've got better each backyard about slowing down. Bit like you though, Jacob, trying to run to feel. I can move pretty well, so I just put more walking in where I could. So I was able to walk some of the downhills even and walk some of the flats because I was running fairly efficiently for a fair portion of the race too to target that slower time to come in.
Mm. I remember you told me, I think it might have been leading into the race or maybe just at the start, that it was a decision, like you were focusing on doing your loops a little bit slower. But yeah, that 39-minute loop you ran, was that a conscious effort to try and get some sleep, was it?
Oh, I think it was, but I knew I wasn't tired, but I was feeling really good, and I'd had me first. I reckon I'd had my first no dose that started me caffeine playing there, so I was just feeling really good. So I come in, I wasn't really even sweating or anything like that. So I tried to lay down, but I wasn't ready to sleep. So I got a bit of a rest and got to have a chat to my mate that was crewing for me because I've gone, geez, I'm bloody selfish bastard. I'm doing slow laps here. My mate's come down a crew. I want to chat to him and hang out with him. He's going, nah, Paddy, just it's fine, it's fine. And I said, yeah, but it's not fine to me. That you're the one here. I want to hang out with you and chat to you too. And that's and something I've got to try and be a bit more selfish in things. And I had some good chats to people out on course around it's okay to be selfish for a period of time when you're in these events and not feel like you're neglecting those that are around you, which is a really powerful mind shift for me that transformed during that event.
Yeah, well, I reckon that the crew love it. Talking
Mm.
to the other people, watching the race, they're having the best time.
They are. They are. That's what they constantly remind me. And I just think, it's just how my mind works, Pat.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun out on course too. So it's
Yeah.
good fun. Like you meet some bloody rippers and you have some good chats. It's good fun.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the mind, like mindset was a big one for me at MVP and something I've been working on. So I was really happy with how I went in that area, especially having after having Claudine on the podcast. But Paul, how would you describe your mindset at MVP compared to last year?
Yeah. So I went in. I remember chatting to Timmy and Ollie about it. I went in thinking that I should have been with the kids because they had regional athletics on,
Mm,
but on the same weekend. But I made that choice to go, nah, that's Paul. You're primed for this. You enjoy this event. Get into it. And then I just made a conscious effort to chat to people out there and hear their stories, share my stories, and just embrace and be present in the moment, not even thinking about the next yard. And that was just the yards just ticked through. And so that was my approach. And I've never used music before. And again, I didn't in this one. But then when we're on the bus with the crow and he had the music out and that, and I've gone, just that some of those yards went without me even feeling like I ran. So I'm going, I need to build music into my schedule on that as well because I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning, the Crow and Liam put it in on the Sunday morning, and I could see they were listening to their music, and I'm trying to talk to them because I was still wanting to hang out and chat, but they're just going in, they're in it to get through, and I'm going, geez, I need to find how I get through without people because
yeah,
I've worked out how to get through with people around because I'm that sort of person. I enjoy company of people, but now I've got to work out in these events, how do I enjoy my own company to go and not go just for 5 on my own when you got the road runner out in front? I can't run with him. So saying how do I keep going on my own?
yeah. Well, look, I mean, you've definitely improved. I mean, you must have improved your mindset because you don't go from 33 at GV and then 40 yards at MVP without an improved attitude and mindset.
Yeah, I think I'd be more present, I think, Pato, and just being that it's not about shit, you have to go and shoot the lights out. Just enjoy the moment and what will happen will happen.
Mm,
And and if it goes long, well, that's awesome. Be prepared to go long, but don't put too unfair expectations or guilt on yourself for what you're doing, and
yeah,
just enjoy what's actually happening out there. And I did. I had a ball.
yeah. Um, Jacob, were you tempted to like slow things down and run on the train with everyone else at any stages during that night?
Um, I was, but I'd also become pretty used to the rest I was getting, and I didn't want to mess with my pace too much. I kind of wanted to stick to my plan that I had, get back in, get ready, get back out. But it did look like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Jacob, is mindset an area where you've done much work?
It's definitely an area that I pay a lot of attention to, and I probably come out of MVP with more areas that I think I need to work on than I went in with.
Yeah,
Um, One being towards after the crow dropped out, Paul, I think you started doing loops a bit quicker from memory, and that frustrated me. Not at Paul, just at the fact that I thought the race was nearly done, and Paul had quickened up, and I was like, oh God, he's got a second wind. Like, I thought I had this nearly wrapped up, and I became very frustrated. And I remember my wife calling me, and I was like, look, you just need to leave me for a bit. Like, I just need to kind of get in my zone and work my way through this. It wasn't that I thought about quitting or anything like that, but it got to me more than it should have, and I should have had the attitude, like Paul said, that it'll go long if it goes long, and just enjoy the ride.
Mm. So talking like, tell me about those last few hours when it was just the two of you left. Like, were you talking much?
Only at the start of the yard, we'd have a quick chat when we were both in there, and then we wouldn't see each other until we started again, really. But yeah, no, we were chatting. It was good. I actually ended up really enjoying the last few yards after I kind of got over that frustration that the race was still going. And it just felt like we were slogging it out in the heat. Like it was good. Looking back on it, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah. Um, so you weren't like, running together at all. It was basically just starting the corral together and then see you later, basically.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob would take off at a pretty decent pace, and I found Pato, and this has been consistent in all my events. The first sort of 500 odd meters. Once I've sat down for a few minutes, I'm pretty stiff and sore as to how my body deals with things. So I take it pretty easy,
Mm,
but then I warm into the loop as such, and then start to run a bit more freely. But you're certainly not going to be able to then hook on the back when you do that. When you effectively run the first sort of 8 to 10 minutes of it, you're not going to catch that back up. But I didn't deliberately go quicker. I think it was probably just the sun come up, Jacob, plus the fact that I was pretty buoyed that I'd gone through the evening. Like I'd said to myself and some mates before, and I go, geez, I'd love to see two sunrises. Wouldn't it be pretty cool to say that you've ran to see two sunrises? So there was probably just that bit of pep in my step, the sun coming up. I'd hit not a goal, but just that feeling of seeing the sun come back up. And if I had known it was frustrating, maybe I should have thrown a couple more quick ones in. But
Yeah.
at the time, I wasn't thinking about trying to play mind games at all.
No,
I
yeah,
was just trying to just be out there and enjoy it and just run to feel was what I
yeah,
was doing.
yeah. I didn't think you were playing the mind games. I just thought, oh, like this guy's got a second win. Like we're in for the long haul here.
Are there any interactions between the two of you that come to mind? Just like any conversations, like in the starting corral before the start of any yards?
I think by the time we started chatting in the corral, it was pretty deep into the race and pretty hot. So we weren't really talking about too much except for the heat and kind of just pepping each other up, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember saying to one of you, Jacob, going, "We'll get you to the record." I remember saying that, but I don't know how close away we were for it because you and I weren't thinking about it, but everyone around it was talking about it, and then it just happened to be something in our mind, but it wasn't something in my mind until we get back and you'd hear people going, "Oh, you're only two away from the record. Keep going, boys." And then my favourite interaction was when I was done on the 41st loop when I'd gone and I made a choice to sit down on the park bench and I made the choice to wait for Jacob because I go, he'll be coming through here in about 20 minutes. I genuinely told myself that I was done and I didn't want to be stuck up on the hill or coming down the hill, Jacob finishing, and I miss out on all the fanfare of everyone patting him on the back and saying, well done. And so I wanted to be the first to congratulate him on the win. So I sat on the park bench 2.5 Ks in, waiting for him and nodded off a couple of times and got to congratulate him and then gone, shit, now I've got to get up this hill to see him finish.
Yeah, that was special. That was really good. Yeah, that was good.
The Do you remember what you were thinking about as far as the race goes, Paul? Like, was it all about going one more loop? Is that how, like, was that kind of like, that's what they say. Like, is that like deep in the race? Is that how you were getting up and going again?
Oh, sometimes, yeah, but not consistently, Pato. There was just when on a Saturday night, it was just, geez, I'm having fun with these boys, and Shane would do a slow run, then he'd do a quick run, and Shane would go, geez, I'm going to beat Jacob on this one. I'm going, you'll blow yourself up. He goes, oh, but I'm only doing 27. It's all right. So then he'd go out and do a fast one, then he'd come back and say, I'm going again. So at that Saturday night, it wasn't really thinking about yard by yard. It did get to that point sort of on the Sunday morning, but no, I just kept getting up and going because I was enjoying it for the most of it, and I feel that if I didn't start to have the gut issues and feel tired and just getting sick of dealing with that and wanting to have a sleep, my body actually felt pretty good. So as good as it can, 40 yards in, but that's the best I've recovered out of all the backyarders. But no, not yard by yard. It was just enjoying the moment that
Yeah.
happened to be yard by yard. Sometimes it was more enjoying the moments out there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you definitely looked good. Like it didn't, when I left at 37, it looked like you were both in the zone and it didn't look like you were any close to stopping, but it was warming up. Like I couldn't believe, like I was just sweating so much and I wasn't even running. It was that warm on Sunday. So also when I left, around 37, I remember Jacob, like creamed rice was pretty much all you could eat.
Yeah, it's not all that I could eat. It's all that I wanted to eat. I still had heaps of like chocolate and stuff left, but I had a gut full of it by then. But the cream of rice was just appealing to me. And yeah, that was good. I'd just have a tub of that at the camp, and then the lollies on the loop, and that was kind of seeing me through really.
Hmm. What was it like seeing two sunrises? Well, that was would have been the first time for both of you, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was good. I actually wasn't as tired as I thought I would be going through 2 nights. I think I would have really started to feel the pinch if we'd gone into the third night. But no, it was good. It was special.
hmm, yeah. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, it was yeah, that was pretty cool. We were joking out on course that I remember talking to a couple of boys and going, geez, we've had bigger benders than this, and now we're started to probably to run through 2 nights. We're probably starting to now say that I've ran for more than I've partied for in a previous life. So that was probably a cool thing to be able to go. But yeah, just see the sun come up, but then the heat did turn on a lot quicker on the Sunday morning than the Saturday morning. I think that's partly with just the fatigue you've got in there, but also on the Sunday morning. And Jacob, you might recall this as well. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on. I think we did talk about it after the race, but a bit sketchy for me. There was hot and cold winds going through or pockets from about 3 to about 6 o'clock on the Sunday morning out in course. So like not just like a couple of degrees temperature shifts. It was like huge temperature shifts. And I'm going, this is bloody weird, real weird. And then the
Yeah,
sun come up and then it disappeared.
yeah, I definitely remember that on the night time. Yeah, you'd
Mm,
feel it. You'd go through and you'd be cold, and all of a sudden you're hot as.
mm,
But overall, I don't think it really cooled off that much on the second night. Like I didn't
mm.
wear anything different. Like I did the first night. I just stayed in my like tank top the whole time.
Yeah.
So, Paul, what was at the beginning of the 31st loop when you were both in the starting corral? Like, what was your frame of mind like? Did you know that it was going to be your last one, or did you decide it on the spot when you ran part when you got to the bench?
Yeah. So on the 41st, I got that. Let's go on. I'm not quitting. I'm not turning around because I turned around last year when Timmy K won on turned around on 26. I went like 500 meters out and walked back. I go, no, I'm just going to keep moving. And I did watch the clock. So I come through. Probably it would have been the slowest I'd come through that first section, and then I went to the bathroom for a few minutes, and I've gone down that hill, and I felt like I wasn't like injured, but I just felt like I had no energy left at all. And then I did make a conscious decision once I got down into going across the creek. And I remember seeing the wizard and Timmy having a swim there the day before. I've gone, maybe I could just jump in and have a swim. But then I won't get to see Joe. So I go, I'm not getting stuck on the hill. I will walk back. I'm going to sit on this chair. But it wasn't until I went down that bit and I've gone, yeah, I'm done. I'm out of puff here. It's time to pull up. Um, could have I kept going? I didn't. So it's not relevant. I stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about Tim and Merlin sleeping in that, I mean, swimming in that water. That looked so nice.
We did joke about that on the Saturday going, do you reckon you could run with a towel, have a quick dip, and then just keep going and get through and have that as your rest?
Yeah. And you did fall asleep on the bench, did you?
Yeah, I know. I remember nodding off a couple of times and going like this, waking up, going, "Oh shit, is he gone through yet?" And then I check my clock and go, "No, no, he'll wake me up if he sees me sleeping here." And so yeah, I did. And then I was just so tired. Like, I slept the whole way home in the car. Got home, had some food, slept again for 2 hours. Told family to wake me up. Had something to eat, went back to bed and slept. And I never sleep through a whole night, and I did. And so I would have had probably 14 hours sleep from when the race finished till start Monday morning, which is like twice as much sleep as I normally did. So I was tired. I was clearly needing some sleep.
Yeah. So it wasn't like someone found you on the bench and woke you up. You kind of just started going back after Jacob had run past, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So the benches, they get more and more noticeable as the race goes on. So were you did like Jacob, were you tempted to just sit on any benches as you ran past them at all as well?
Nah, not really. I was pretty determined to finish the yards off at the pace I was, but they did look inviting towards the end. Absolutely.
And did you realize that it was your last yard or that you had won when you saw Paul?
Not until I seen him. I had no indication going through the start finish line that he had pulled up stumps or anything like that. And I remember on the third mini loop, I, I seen him on the bench, or thought it was him, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, I know he's not in front of me. Like, is that him? And then it kind of clicked. Like, oh yeah, he's pulled up stumps. But no, but apart from that moment, I had no idea that he wasn't just right behind me.
So I mentioned before that your last loop was your slowest. So when you realized that you had won, did you actually slow down?
I slowed down a bit, but I'd also slowed down in general for that loop. Just with the heat management, really. Like, it was starting to get really hot, and I was suffering going up that hill in the heat. But like Paul said earlier, I think maybe because of how fatigued we were, that was playing a big factor into how we were feeling or dealing with the heat.
Yeah.
Um, but if the race was going to progress any further, I definitely would have started using ice and things like that.
Right. So did you put on ice at any stage of the race, Saturday or Sunday?
No, no.
Cool. Um, One thing, Paul, I noticed that both your parents were there crewing for you when I left on the Sunday. I mean, I read that must have been pretty special having them both there, seeing you doing something like that.
Yeah, no, it was, and they've just been around for dinner, and we were chatting a bit about it. And I didn't know until that day on the Saturday they were coming because Dad had had some medical stuff done during the week, so he wasn't sure if he was going to be up for coming. But yeah, to have both of them come in because didn't think I'd have a crew after 15, so I'd had a bit of a plan together. So then they came, and my mum, hats off to her. She did better than I did. Like, she did the night shift while Dad had a snooze, and she would have had not much more sleep than Jake but I. So for Mum that's to do that was pretty cool. And she just get me stuff. No frills. It was I was just proud as I think she was just seeing I was proud seeing her doing what she was doing. And she saw me at Dead Cow when I was a bit worse for wear, and she got a bit upset and didn't want me to go back out. Where this time she was helping me get stuff. If I said she wanted something, she'd go get it for me, and she'd just do it. And I could see she was having fun chatting to everyone as well, and she'd share that with me. So no, it was very special.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Um, so, Jacob, in the last 3 months, you've been the last one standing in two backyard ultras, Aussie Alpine and MVP. And they're both tough courses, but which was the tougher course?
Oh, definitely Aussie Alpine.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by far. I think it's got about 100 meters more elevation gain per loop. And I wouldn't call the trail technical, but for a backyard ultra, it's technical. But yeah, it's definitely a tougher course. But you don't have the weather to deal with that you have at MVP with the heat. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely Aussie Alpine.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you reckon you'll defend your title at Aussie Alpine this year?
I'll make the decision closer, but it's definitely something that I'd be interested in. I love the course, and they done a great job, FOMO Trails, for their first event. They had a lot of atmosphere there, and they done a really good job.
Now, you probably know there's been eight different winners, or is it seven? Seven different winners and seven different assists at MVP. So are you going to come back, do you think, and defend your title at MVP?
Oh, same as Aussie Alpine. It's definitely something I'd want to do, um, but I'll make that decision closer to it. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards.
Yeah. And Paul, you've already said that you'll be back at MVP. You'll never miss MVP.
No, I've improved every year there, Pato. So I think I was top 20, then top five, now top two. So I'll have to come back and win it next year, I suppose. Just
Yeah.
the natural progression, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, so I mean, yeah, Paul, you broke 40 for the first time. You ran a new PB. You became only one of four people to break 40 yards at MVP. It was the first time you made it through two nights, and it was the first time you run as an assist in a backyard ultra. So heaps of huge firsts and achievements in one race. Which achievement are you most proud of those?
That's pretty cool, just listing it like that. Hello, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, I would just, yeah, just, I'd say getting through two nights.
Yeah.
I think that the number's not relevant, just the actual time frame. And you tell people you started running Friday night, and they go, yeah, how far did you go? And then you tell them you stopped at lunchtime Sunday and you saw the sun come up. Those that don't get it. But for those that do get it, that they go, wow. So I sit there and go, yeah, that just getting through two full nights. I think after a busy week leading into it with business and bits and pieces, I go, that's the most. But none of them none of them should be diminished. They're all pretty cool. Like to be an assist to someone that, as a lead as Jacob, and on a course that had, as you say, has had seven different winners and some really good winners, and someone like Benny and Maddie to join what they've done and hit the 40s. That's pretty cool too. So I feel like I've broken through a ceiling that I didn't think I could. I was starting to think I couldn't.
Mm. The, I mean, making it through two nights in a backyard ultra is something that like all backyard ultra runners want to do because they know if they make it through two nights, you're running a high total. So, but now you've done it, like that's a, I reckon, like that's a breakthrough performance. Like you're gonna believe you can do it from now on in all your races.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, I will. I'm normally fairly modest, and I still think I am, but I'm bloody stoked with what I've done, and now I'm excited to have a crack. And 40's not enough.
Mm.
No way. I've been very grateful for the people that have reached out and patted me on the back and asked me what's next and said well done and that. And it excites me and gone, yeah, maybe you should start to believe, and I am now starting to believe and go, okay, what's next? What am I going to do next?
Yeah, I love it. What about you, Jacob? Like you ticked off heaps of firsts and achievements as well. Is there one particular thing that you achieved in this race that you're most happy with?
Yeah, it's that second night thing. I think that was the biggest unknown is how I'd be getting through the second night and how I would respond on the third day. But it was definitely confidence boosting. The way I got through it and the way I kept my form going into the Sunday morning. But yeah, that was definitely a plus.
Yeah, awesome. And so it must have felt good to win. Like, what did it feel like crossing that last yard loop? How did it feel?
Oh, I felt awesome. It really did. It was obviously hard yakka out there, and there's a lot of training that both you guys know that people don't see. The early mornings, the big kilometres that all go into it. So it's very rewarding to see all that work pay off. But yeah, it was a good feeling.
Someone was telling me that you do a lot of your running on a treadmill.
Yeah, I do probably 60 to 70% of my running on my treadmill at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that just because what's the reason for doing that?
I've got a young family, so I don't like to take too much time away from them. So I'll have a lot of early mornings. So I'll get up around 4 o'clock most mornings, and I'll do a couple of hours, an hour, a couple of hours on the treadmill, and then Monday to Friday I'll usually run again lunchtime at work. So it's just trying to structure my life so I'm not taking too much time away from the kids or the wife.
Mm. And someone was also telling me that you program into your treadmill like the course profile and it will give you elevation when the course would have elevation.
Yeah. So I've got a pretty good one, and I can set a course out, and it'll mimic the elevation of the course as I'm running it on the treadmill belt. So this one can go to 40 degrees or -6. So it's got a lot of climbing if you really want it, but it's also good to practice the downhills as well. But I didn't map out the MVP course for this one, but I have in the past, especially for point-to-point trail runs. I'll map sections of the course out and run them on the treadmill.
Yeah, awesome. Do you do much treadmill running, Paul?
About that. Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, Jacob. I need to be outside. I run normally without music or tech or anything like that, but I just like to run outside. I spend a fair bit of my work in a desk, business wise, and bits and pieces. So I see it as get outside. So hats off to you. I can't do it. I love running, but I don't love it enough to do it on a treadie. So well done.
Honestly, I've come to like it.
Yeah,
At the start, it was boring, but no, I don't dread my treadmill run.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm a big music person. I'll listen to
yeah,
music the whole time. Like
yeah,
MVP, from start to finish, I was listening to music.
yeah.
Mm. Um, are you a Wu-Tang fan, Jacob? Or
No, that email's from when I was a teenager, and I've got too much stuff tied to it to get rid of it now. It's too much of a nightmare.
yeah. So what were you listening to?
Oh, a bit of everything, really, like country, hip hop, anything really, just whatever's on the playlist.
Yeah. Now you did 10,000 kilometers on Strava, right? You did 10,000 kilometers running last year. I didn't check
Wow.
your other years. Like, is that the biggest year you've ever had?
Yeah, it's been a steady progression throughout the years, but that was by far the biggest. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you set out with that as a target?
no, not at all. It's just the weekly mileage, or when I'd be prepping for a run, it just climb up naturally, and I think as my body adapted and I become more efficient, more quicker as well. I could cover more ground in a shorter time, so that helped as well.
Hmm. So it sounds like you'll probably do it again this year.
Yeah, I'd say I would probably be on track to equal it or do more, but there has to be a limit soon, I think.
Yeah. And Jacob, as far as other sports go, like, did you grow up playing sports or anything like that? Like, were you a good runner at school and at school athletics and stuff?
No, I was not a good runner at school, no, but I played footy. I was right into footy as a kid, but I gave that away when I was 16. But I've been in the army for 16 years, so with that, we keep fit as well. So we will do PT every day. So that's kept me fit throughout the years. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And what kind of like what's the is the hardest like physical personal challenge you've had in the army as far as training goes? Like, is it as hard as a backyard ultra?
Oh no, I've had a lot worse experiences in the army than I've put myself through in running events.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just like I mean, just the training they make you do, like
yeah. Years ago, we used to go field, and you'd be awake for days, and yeah, yeah. It was a nightmare sometimes. Yeah.
oh, okay. So a good backyard ultra training.
Yeah, I think so. I think it might have set me up all right. Yeah, I was actually pretty afraid of napping throughout loops, and I didn't nap until um, the last couple of hours before dawn on the last night because I was so worried that I'd wake up feeling like I just didn't want to run or race anymore.
Right.
But I was pretty relieved when I did wake up from those quick naps that I was refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. What about you, Paul? Is a backyard ultra physically the hardest thing you've ever done?
Oh, I reckon equal with I got halfway at down under last year. That was tough, like going up and down the hills off the trails there. I'm glad I did that. And the first mile was probably the hardest thing I've done, which was GCR in 2022, the first time I finished a miler. That was 45 hours out on course. She was pretty tough conditions, and I hurt me quad halfway, but I was pretty determined to finish. So we found a way. But I remember the last 12 hours, we only went, no, plus took us 14 hours to go 40 Ks to get it done just in cut off. But that's probably been harder physically
Yeah.
that I've done. But yeah, backyarders are up there.
Yeah.
I haven't had experience with the army, and my sport is up until backyarders is probably seen as normal mainstream sport with like footy, tennis, and bits and pieces. So
Mm. The that down under run that must have leveled you up.
yeah, but I remember Timmy Kay talked me into doing it last year when we did MVP, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad that I got halfway. I got to see the course, and I remember going up the first climb, and Timmy was just behind me. And he goes, "Paddy, what do you think?" And he goes, I said something about it. He goes, "This is what you do for 55 hours. We just keep going up, up, down, up, down." Yeah, that was just to go through the Lurdy. I'd never been there, and I was chatting to Matt Russell about it, and because he's finished it, and he was talking to me about it, and he was ripping to hang out with on Sadiavo and talk to him, and he goes, "You'd never been here before. You'd done down under." I said, "No," and he goes, "Did you know it was going to be that hard?" And I said, "I knew it was going to be hard, but I had no idea that they'd send you up and down the side of mountains, like just off trail." That was cool. So it was fun. Except for Old River, 10 hours on Old River's no fun.
Um, but what about you, Jacob? Like, what's the hardest race? That one in Taiwan. I mean, I just think that that sounds hard, but was that the hardest, or was MVP hardest, or?
Similar to Paul, I think my first miler, like the first couple of big trail runs, looking back, felt the hardest. Just probably because you weren't used to it. The Taiwan race was hard because of the heat, the humidity, and the altitude. But yeah, I tend to agree. The first couple of miles are definitely rough.
Yeah. Um, so I mean, I reckon you're both like more than capable and will run a total big enough to make the Australian team. Um, Paul, like first of all, like is that a goal of yours this year now?
I used I've been on here before, Pat, and I've talked to you, and I used to say it was, but I used to say it just because I thought it sounded cool with no proof that I could do it. But now I genuinely believe that with some changes to what I've learned just in that event and the things that went well versus what I've learned from it as well, I'm going to have a crack at it this year. I think it'd be pretty cool the thing that ultra running doesn't have a team, and I miss the team side of things of team sport. Went to the Sat Champs a couple of years ago, hang out with you, Pato, for 5 days. That's the closest we get to being in a team in the sport I now choose to do. I get the fix during the summer with me wife and some good mates playing tennis. My passion though is running. So yeah, to be on that Australian team, I'm not going to lie, I want to have a crack at it. If
Mm.
I'm good enough, I get on. If I don't, well, we're going to have 15 pretty bloody awesome males and females on it. So yeah, it is going to be a goal now that I think that I'm going to have a crack at. And if I get it, I get it. If I don't, well, I'll probably still go up to Reds and watch and hang out and be part of it as a support. Anyway,
I love it. Have you thought about how you're going to plan the races to get there?
not yet. No, it's too soon. I've been chatting on text to a couple of the guys that are in the team about it, and they're going, "What one you going to do next, Paddy? Maybe you should do this and bits and pieces." But I'm just gonna let the dust settle. We got 3 weeks of tennis left. We're sitting on the bottom. I need to lift my game to see if we can sneak into the finals. So I'm gonna focus on that, focus on kids stuff, and then I'll probably pick one of the three events that makes sense to do, which is the local one in Melbourne for me, or head to Reds or
Mm,
Clint Eastwood in August. But no, I haven't decided yet. I think I just need to focus on the now for the
mm.
next sort of month and then see what I decide to do.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like a good plan. And what about you, Jacob? You obviously want to make the team.
Yeah, it wasn't on the cards earlier, but I really enjoyed the last two backyarders. I was gonna just do these ones and then go back to racing trails, but I think I'm gonna try and give it a crack now, and that probably looks like racing at Reds, um, but also finding a race before then to practice a few things I want to practice and to just to fine tune myself.
Yeah. And what do you? I mean, it sounds like you really like backyard ultras now. Like, well, what do you like most about the format?
I think I like it the most because it doesn't matter how quick you are or anything like that. It just matters who's going to last the longest. You don't have that nervous energy at the start, being like, I need to be quick. I need to get in front of the pack. Like it doesn't matter. You can just warm into the race. I find myself not getting too wound up before them because of the format that they're in. And I think that's appealing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, I feel so relaxed. Like, I think I even fell asleep in my chair before the race started. Yeah, I wasn't wound up at all. How were you? Were you like really relaxed, like in the hours leading up to the race? Did you have a nap? Or-
No, I didn't nap, but I was pretty relaxed. Like I said, there's no pressure to be a boy out the gate and to try and really take hold of the race early. So it's good in
Yeah.
that sense. But yeah, I was definitely relaxed.
Mm. Yeah, because like in a point to point, like you've got to like keep your pace. Otherwise, like you can stuff up. If you stuff up your first 10Ks, that's the end of it,
Yeah,
really.
it's all over then. But in a backyard, it doesn't matter. You can have a few slow laps, and it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what about you, Paul? Have you found that you're loving the format more for the social side now, or?
Yeah, yeah, I love the social part of it. I love that you get to run with all all different walks of runners, like those that have never ran a marathon through to some of the best runners in the country and that. So to get to hang with all walks of life and chat and hear, and that's my social. That's what I do socially now instead of going out at the pub and pissing up against the wall. That's my social outing sort of thing. And I love a solo run as well. Like I do most of my training solo, and then I've got a core group of blokes here that we do some runs and that together. And we're just the middle-aged men. We hang out. We're setting a good example for our kids and those of our peers that want to also move into that phase of life. And we do some crazy adventures. We've got one coming up next month, me and Danny, that we're gonna go do. We want to go do a lap of the bay over a weekend. So we're going to head down to Melbourne with no set fixture about where we're going to do, but we're going to try and, well, we will. We're going to get around the bay across the weekend and have some fun and see who else wants to come and join us for bits and pieces. And that's what I like to do now in my free time. I call it my hobby.
Yeah,
It's a pretty cool hobby to do.
yeah, unreal. Um, Now, Jacob, you did mention that you wanted to do another backyard before Reds. What are you going like? What have you pinpointed that you want to work on to improve, like that you learned from MVP?
Um, Definitely the sleeping. I want to be able to try and sleep from the first night, and that's probably going to look like me having a dedicated crew. So I went uncrewed at Alpine and went most of the way at MVP uncrewed until Brendan stepped in. So I think I need to go into my next one crewed, prepared to sleep from the first night, and just work on that mental game as well. Just being present in the loop I'm in and not worrying about the next loop or how much longer the race is going to go.
Have have people been like volunteering to crew for you at your next race?
I haven't spoken to anyone but my wife about my next race plans, but it's definitely something I'd try and find is someone to help me out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no, you haven't had hordes of people coming. Hey, make sure you ask me to crew for you at your next race. Nothing like
No, no, nothing like that. No.
that. I wouldn't be surprised if some do.
Oh, maybe that'd be nice.
Yeah. Um, so I always ask my guests for their three backyard ultra tips, but have I missed anything as far as the race goes? I've tried to cover it all, but like, have you guys got any stories that are worth sharing about the race?
I think we've covered it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that I think Brett runs a really good event. He asked Jacob and I both at the end, should he change the date or change the course? And we both said, nah, hills and heats what it should be. I think it's a great way to kick off the the Australian or Victorian backyard ultra season for the year. I wouldn't change it at all. And I love the distance markers you get. So seeing like I think Pato, I think it's worth acknowledging there's Matty Russell's son ran five, 12-year-old ran 5 yards to start that. That's so cool to see kids doing those sorts of things out there. And there were some other people that I know ran like 3 or 4 times further than they ever ran before. I think it's really worth acknowledging that this environment lets people come out and be the best version of themselves, whatever that is, and they're not compared to anyone else. They can do it in their own comfort of the course and bits and pieces. So I think that's why these things exist for all levels of runners out there, and,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. Like I get fired up watching people busting their gut from the first loop. It fires me up. I
Yeah,
think I think some people think it might who haven't done one might think it's a bit intimidating. Like the big dogs might like be mean to the first timers and stuff, but it's not like that at all. But yeah, anyway, as far as three backyard ultra tips, Jacob, what would your three backyard ultra tips be?
My first one would be to run your own race. Don't get caught up in how fast or slow other people are going. Have your plan and stick to it no matter what else is happening around you in the race. My second tip would probably be the nutrition side. Find what works for you, have a plan, and religiously stick to it. Eat even if you don't want to. Obviously, there's going to be times where your body can't tolerate it, but have a nutrition plan and stick to it. My third one would be, and this is personal to me and it might not work for everyone else, but I always walk the last couple 100 meters of the yard before I come back in. And the reason I do that is I come in relaxed. I've already thought about what I need to do when I get back to my tent. And I just find it works really well.
Mm, awesome. What about you, Paul?
I can't remember what you asked me a couple of years ago when I was on, but for me, I think just enjoy the moment, just be part of it, embrace what's going on, and enjoy the people that are around you and chat. That just really works well for me. So I think enjoy the event. Don't focus on what others are doing. Focus, as Jake said, focus on your own race, but embrace those around you. Um, if you've got something going on gear wise, well, they say if you've got dramas with shoes or something rubbing, those sorts of things, you've got a lot of time. So take the time if you need to change socks, shoes, tape your feet, change your gear, those sorts of things. Don't panic. You don't have to go in quick that yard or anything like that. You've got plenty of time between yards. And number three, it's not a tip for me because I can't say I've experienced it firsthand, but I've seen so many do it, and Jacob shared he's done and do. I need to learn how to run with some music or podcasts or something he is because it seems like those that go far embrace that sort of tech piece. So take the time to enjoy your own company out there as well and listen to the music you want to do or a podcast or an audio book and that as well, which is completely against the first one, but I think you can get a good balance of both because you're out there for a long time.
Yeah, talking about music, like have you noticed Luke Slater, he must like listening to a bit of music, but have you seen the size of the headphones he wears?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. They're rippers.
Um, so I remember after Dead Cow Gully 2 years ago, Paul, I remember you had some pretty bad chafing. Have you sorted that out?
Yeah, got that sorted. I think it just comes back to like Jacob says, think about what you need to do, have as you come in, take the time to do it and take care of your body. It's not like a point to point where you're going, shit, I've got to try and get in this section. I've got to get through an aid station and go again. You got the time. And yeah, I now make sure that every yard I'm taking care of where you need to take care of
Yeah,
but like prevention's better than the cure.
yeah, awesome. Well, congratulations on both, like running such an awesome race. Like it was something else. Like it wasn't an easy year. Like that Saturday, I thought was really tough. Like that sun was unrelenting, and Sunday, like you guys just kept going, even when it got really hot in the morning. It was like, I forget if it was on the. You might have said, Jacob, before we started hit record. Like it was like an oven.
Yeah, especially going up that hill. It was like an oven
Yeah,
up that hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I mean, that was awesome. And look, it's just such a great race. I'll definitely be back next year as well. And I wish you both all the best making that Sat Champs teams. I'm 100% sure you're both more than capable of making it.
thanks, Pato.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks, Pato.
thanks for having a chat with us, and well done on your course PB too, I believe. 27 was a PB at MVP for you.
Yeah, yeah. 26 was my previous best at the course. And I'm pretty happy. Like, I mean, I've taken so many positives out of that run. It was only the second time I've broken 24 at that race in 5 goes. I was really happy with making it through that Saturday. I thought it was pretty hard with the sun. And yeah, so I reckon I'm fired up for a big year myself.
Yeah. I reckon all three of us might run in the same event at some point during the year. I do hope to get to cross paths again with you, Jacob. It'll be
I'll
good
say we
fun.
will. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks both for coming on. Congratulations again. And yeah, I'm sure I'll see you both during the year.
Thanks, Pato. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pato. Thanks, Jacob. Take care.